As you may be aware, Mr. Bailey couldn't attend today. And as such, he has sent Mr. Del Mar to speak for him, and we will give him 2 minutes to speak for Mr. Bailey. Mr. Del Mar?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everybody. Darren asked me to say a few words because he's not able to participate in the forum here today. As many of you know, on October 22nd, there was a tragic accident in the Bailey family where Darren lost his son, his daughter-in-law, 2 of their children, and the family dog. And the youngest child, Samuel, today is his heavenly birthday, and the Bailey family is celebrating in memoriam for him. So he unfortunately is unable to participate here today. But Darren asked me to tell you a few things before I depart. One is that he's very thankful for all of the well wishes, the text messages, the letters, the emails, the social posts, everything that you have done to raise that family up during that crisis that took place 2 months ago. You know, Darren and Cindy really appreciate that, you know, and that did an amazing job of lifting them up during that hard time. So I just wanted to say on behalf of the Bailey Del Mar campaign, and more importantly on behalf of the Bailey family, thank you so very much. And we look forward to having another opportunity where Darren can be here and he can talk to you more about our positions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Del Mar. Now for the moment you've all been waiting for, let me introduce tonight's Republican candidates for governor. Ted Dabrowski, James Mendrick, and Rick Heidner. Much like the lieutenant governors, we'll proceed in ballot order, rotating with each question, and begin with an opening question. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for this question. Introduce yourself and explain your motivation running for governor. What do you want to accomplish when elected? How do you intend to make that happen when J.B. Pritzker has what seems to be an unlimited cash to spend to win elections? Mr. Dabrowski.
Thank you. Do we have a timer somewhere?
Right there. To the right of that sound booth.
Oh, right there.
Yes.
Jeez, I'm blind. Thank you all for being here. My name is Ted Dabrowski, and I'm running for governor. And my dream and inspiration is to make this state a top 5 state in the country. We should be one of the best states in the country. We have all the assets to make us that. We've been that before. I talk a lot about when my parents were immigrants here over 60 years ago. We were the beacon of opportunity. We were the beacon of freedom. This is where you built the American dream. Now, some of you won't know me, but many of you will have seen my work. I've been working for the last 15 years at the Illinois Policy Institute and then at WirePoints. And so if you don't know me, you've probably seen my charts on how our kids can't read and why we need to fight for literacy. Or you might see the out-migration stats where Pritzker says we're not losing population, and I'm saying we are. You might see my work on how the taxes and where we rank in this country and how we're being destroyed. So I have been doing Doge for the last 15 years. You'll hear a lot of Doge discussion today. I've been doing it for 15 years. So I've dedicated my life. I didn't realize that I'd be running for governor, but I've been effectively going around the state, working with the grassroots groups, talking about the issues. I've been going to the legislature. I've testified in the legislature. I've been working on laws. I've been doing this work and building coalitions for a long time. And what I didn't realize is that here I am thinking about running for governor, and I've got this setup going. Our team has the best coalition of donors, the best coalition of political and influencer support, and we got the best coalition of grassroots groups. So I'm excited to help lead and build this recovery of this amazing state. We will be a great state, and I want to lead that effort, and I need your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dabrowski. One program note: if you're having discussions in the audience, can we all ask that you take it down the hall a little bit to give everyone an opportunity to hear the candidates? Thank you so much. And next up is Mr. Mendrick. Please, you have 2 minutes.
So what do I want to accomplish when elected? First, I want to accomplish total dissolution of the sanctuary state. Number one, done. I want to accomplish the total dissolution of the Safety Act. Number two. A piece of plastic called a FOID card does not give you your constitutional rights to carry a firearm. The Constitution does. I want our 2A rights back. I don't want sexuality, and it's different between biology, sexuality in schools, in our libraries. I don't want porn in our schools. I want kids to be kids again. And to understand the Illinois compiled statutes of the word minor, that's under 18 years old for our kids. Let them be kids. I believe in God. I think we need to stop scrubbing God out of society. I think we have to bring the nuclear family back. I mean, we're doing prenups, preparing for divorce upon marriage. I mean, we've taken everything that made us great and we've let them take it away from us. This is Illinois and we're still in the USA, but they've taken the USA out of Illinois and I want to take it back. The bottom line is we can't do any of this unless we take a stand and we're not afraid to be conservatives. We're a two-party system, but we've been waffling for years now, trying to placate two parties instead of being true conservatives. I'm also pro-life, and I'm not afraid to admit that, and I think we need to start having discussions about paying for out-of-state abortion and late-term abortions. Those have to be topics that have to be talked about. Why are we so afraid of this stuff? We can't be ashamed to be conservatives. I'm a proud Christian father, husband, police officer. I'm endorsed by the entirety of the Illinois Sheriff's Association because the sheriffs know public safety should be coming first in a totally crazy society that we're living in today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mendrick. Next up, Mr. Heidner. Same question.
Hello, my name's Rick Heidner, and I'm running to be your next governor. So I want to tell you, this is about my 10th time that I'm doing this now, and I'm brand new at it. And I never really was going to go into politics, except I saw everything that's been happening in this state for such a long time, and I'm a businessman and a family man, and basically I just couldn't take it anymore. And I really thought about this, and I want to tell you, everybody, if there was 4 people on this stage, almost every single one of us think exactly alike. We all believe in the same things. I'm not a sheriff and I'm not a policeman, but I have to tell you, I've had 150 of them work for me. I have dozens of them work for me now, off duty and retired, and I think they're the most wonderful people in the world, and I understand their coalition, okay? But when I think about it now, I have to tell you, I realize why I'm doing this is because every single person in this room, I guarantee you, I have gone through at least 90% of everything that you've all gone through. I come from absolutely nothing, okay? My father left when I was 1 year old and my brother was 2, and my 98-pound mother had to raise us. She never remarried. By the time I was 16 years old, she was working so many jobs, making $100 a week, and it was 2 weeks' work to pay 1 month's rent. So I have that, right? And I'm sure there's some of you like that. And then I fought and I fought and I worked. By the time I was 11 years old, on an average, I was working 2,000 hours a year to help my mother, and my brother was helping too. I was in my own business by the time I was 16. I grew businesses. At this point, I don't have enough time to tell you it all, but I have 800 employees, 280 buildings in 12 states, and many businesses that tenants, 800 tenants also, and I've created unbelievable amount of jobs and an unbelievable work ethic and an unbelievable amount of tax dollars for the state of Illinois. And I want to resonate and I want to help.
That's time, Mr. Heidner. Thank you. The next question will be started with Mr. Mendrick, and the question is, Illinois Democrats routinely pass major legislation in the middle of the night with little or no public hearings, effectively skipping the spirit of the 3 readings rule and ignoring overwhelming witness slips filed in opposition by citizens. As governor, knowing Democrats hold a veto-proof supermajority, how would you use the veto to fight back against this abusive process, expose bad legislation, and defend voters who are being shut out of their own government? And this question is 1 minute.
Okay, so let's start with House Bill 3653. That's what they called the Safety Act. Before it was called 3653, it was a 3-digit number. I can't remember what it was, but 3:45 in the morning, they go to pass it. They change it from its House Bill number to 3653 because they want to wipe out, I think it was 54,000 witness slips that were against it. If you change the House Bill, it wipes out opposition. So anybody, please go to the Illinois General Assembly website. This tells you, you can do a keyword search and you can see all the crazy stuff, put in schools, police, all that kind of stuff. That's where you'll see what they're doing to us. It was an 800-page document, passed at 3:45 in the morning, 45-minute read on it. They were threatening people, and that became the Safety Act, and now we're dealing with that. That is where I would come in. As governor, that document had to come to the governor's desk, and I would veto that. I will always be honest to my party. I will never betray Republican values.
Thank you, Mr. Mendrick. Mr. Heidner, 1 minute for the next question, please. For the same question, please.
So, again, same thing, right? I mean, I would veto it immediately. Nothing's going to be hidden from anyone. Everything is going to be open to everyone to read, see, and there's no way in the world that they're going to push this stuff through. Now, if they go after that and try to supersede with their majority vote, I want to let you know that, I have worked with both sides of both parties, Republican and Democrat, my entire life. I have accomplished hundreds of millions of dollars worth of business in the state of Illinois. I've built so many buildings and started so many businesses. I could work with these people. I could resonate. I could make sure that I'm going to have an open door policy. Democrat, Republican, come in, let's talk about it. But it's going to have to be reasoned and reasonable. There's not going to be anything hidden. Everything is going to be exposed. Everything is going to be shown to everyone. And that's the way I'm going to govern.
Thank you, Mr. Heidner. Mr. Dabrowski, same question, 1 minute.
So right now, Governor Pritzker gets to have his supermajorities pass something, and if it's something that he wants everybody to know about, he will sign it to make big fanfare. If it's something like the assisted suicide bill, legislature will pass it, and he'll sign it quietly. And they move on, and they just pass everything that should not be passed. Our power has to be in vetoing all these crazy things and then making huge noise about it. And that's where the power comes in. That's where my experience and my power comes in. I have things in the Wall Street Journal, in the Fox News. I've been able to take all these things that these guys have been doing over the last, this legislature has been doing over the last 15 years and get it into the press. Imagine my power being governor and doing that. I just held a press conference the other day to Carrie's point. We've had child care services spending and home services spending rise at multiples the pace of what the general budget has done. That should be investigated, that should be audited, and Governor Pritzker has done nothing about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dabrowski. The next question is, Illinois has become increasingly unaffordable for working families, retirees, and small businesses, largely due to state taxes, fees, and mandates passed by a Democratic supermajority. Knowing that supermajority will likely remain in place, how would you, as a Republican governor, actually reduce the cost of living in Illinois, and how would you force those changes to happen? For this question, we will start with Mr. Heidner, and that's 1 minute, Mr. Heidner.
So, once again, the entire state of Illinois has become a state of taking. Take. Since the fall session, I watched that, and all they were doing downstate was deciding how much money they're going to take from you and where they can take it from. We have the most incredible state in Illinois, in the Midwest. It's so amazing. We have the lakefront, we have all the businesses, we have everything. My idea is to bring business here, grow business here, create jobs here. First thing I'm going to do is freeze. No more taxes, no more tax increases. We're going to look into everything where every dollar is being spent, and then we're going to bring new businesses coming in here. If we bring new businesses, we'll make more money with those businesses, which will be taxed with our normal tax. Then after we get all that additional money, we could start, and all the savings from the cheating, we could start reducing taxes. That's my plan. Make, not take, take.
Thank you, Mr. Heidner. Mr. Dabrowski, same question, same 1 minute.
I agree with Rick. Freeze taxes immediately. We have to just put a freeze. We can't allow them to keep going up. But I want to take it further than that. I want to take the playbook from Indiana. They set a 1% cap on your home value for property taxes. That would be cutting ours in half almost. That would be the national average, and that's really should be our ambition. We can't allow them to keep taxing like that. But now, if we do that, if we're going to put a cap, then we got to figure out where to cut the spending. There's massive administrative bloat in our schools, massive administrative bloat in our universities. Talk about all kinds of hiring. It's all staff and bureaucrats, not teachers. We should be growing our teacher base, not the bureaucrats. And that's a big thing. And I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dabrowski. Mr. Mendrick, same question, 1 minute.
How to stop a supermajority from spending all your money? It's charge them with crimes. That's how to do it. So I hate to say it. Folks, I'm a cop, and I've been a cop for 30 years. I spent 6 years investigating financial crimes as a detective commander at the DuPage County Sheriff's Office, second biggest county in the state. I eat up criminal financiers for a living. That's what I do. So, folks, the way we stop them is we start going into fraud, sweeping of motor vehicle funds, taking your income tax, your local distributive fund from your mayors and village managers, NGOs that are going to Guitars for Guns, schools that are defunct, no kind of audit control or metrics on contracts. These are all things that are illegal. Job codes, let's go there. Do you know how many people, aldermen's assistants are getting paid $250,000 when the aldermen are getting $150,000? Those job codes don't jive. Full audit, investigative audit, and we will find all the fraud and save your money there.
Thank you, Mr. Mendrick. The next question. Illinois has declared itself a sanctuary state, prioritizing illegal immigrants over taxpayers and public safety. As governor, how would you dismantle those policies, stop the spending, and restore cooperation with federal law enforcement, even without legislative support? What specific action would you take first? An executive order, an agency directive, or a legal challenge, and why? And this will start with Mr. Dabrowski.
We need to stop this craziness with illegal immigration, with the Welcoming Act, attracting so many people here and spending all our money on illegal immigrants, and of course, inviting and harboring illegal criminals. That has to end. And Governor Pritzker has been behind all that, and so has Brandon Johnson, so we have to unwind all that. And we must do it through executive order, through legal actions, in every way we can. What we must do immediately is start cooperating with federal authorities. That would stop the chaos. We should be handing over bad guys directly from the local jails right to the federal authorities. Then ICE would not have to be on the streets chasing them down. That's number one. Number two, getting rid of Governor Pritzker will do something awesome because Pritzker is fomenting violence. He calls our federal enforcement officers, he calls them jackbooted thugs, he calls them Nazis, he calls them terrorists, he calls them racist, and that triggers people to go attack them. That has to end, and as governor, we will end all that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dabrowski. Mr. Mendrick, same question, 1 minute.
This is the most expensive thing hitting us. Medical, education, housing. That's our most expensive thing is housing. Link cards, all this stuff. We can't afford it. Day one, I will completely eliminate by executive order the sanctuary state policies. They will be gone from Illinois. And guess what, folks? That will stop the raids. Here's the big joke to all this. A sanctuary, safety, sanctuary, nice words. Those are monikers built by liberal media until you get to assault weapons, and then it's that moniker, right? That's how they program you. If we did not have a sanctuary state, we would now have access for ICE in 92 correctional facilities across the state. This is a 7-hour state, folks. It takes 7 hours to drive from one end to the other. 92 jails. If they're doing ICE pickups, they would have to increase their head count by 20% just to change from a forward, proactive committee to now being a transport unit, picking up hundreds of illegal aliens that have broken additional laws. Isn't that what everyone wants? We want the ones that broke the laws. Open up our jails day one.
Thank you, Mr. Mendrick. Mr. Heidner, same question, 1 minute.
Yes, sanctuary state, gone first day, executive act. Safety act, gone first day, executive decision, period. Okay? They can fight me all they want on that. Sheriff Mendrick's 100% correct. We immediately get a hold of the federal government and ICE and have him pick up every single criminal that's in his jails and the other 92 that he's talking about, or whatever it is. It's criminal what they've done to us. I mean, one of the biggest reasons I was running, the biggest thing, I just couldn't understand or take it anymore with all the people that are getting hurt. All the people that are getting hurt all over our beautiful state. The revolving door. I talk to policemen, they arrest somebody and 4 days later they're arresting the exact same person. They're not even in jail for 24 hours. They're just completely turned around. Again, I've told you all, we're all speaking the same language here. So, our hearts and our souls are all in the right spot.
Thank you, Mr. Heidner. The next question. Most Republicans agree that a full repeal of the Safety Act must be a priority. The law itself was the result of foolish, progressive political policy rushed through in the middle of the night with little transparency or accountability. Until a full repeal is possible, criminals are being released and cycling back onto the streets. As governor, what specific reforms would you pursue to stop that, restore public safety, and support law enforcement, and how would you force those changes to happen? And this question will start with Mr. Mendrick.
There's a reason why I was endorsed by a whole state full of sheriffs, right? I will be the one to take care of this, but you have to understand the crime and the complications of the Safety Act before it was here and when it was here. I do all this rehabilitation. We dropped our recidivism rates from 75 to 15%, our heroin rates down from 90 to 20, but now we let those same people go. We let 80% of a population come into a jail on substance. Now we let them go while they're tweaking. They're basically jonesing, they're detoxing, making more bad judgments. So it turns out the Safety Act promulgates long-term incarceration because when you get let go, you make bad decisions, you get 4 hits on you before you see a judge, and then they send you IDOC for 20 years. So I vow to make the Safety Act as gone as you can. It's not as easy an executive order. The sanctuary state you can, right? So it's a federal law violates a state law and the federal law prevails. So that one executive order, bam, you can't do that with the Safety Act. You're going to need to have legislative issues. And I think I could get it across the aisle to do it category based. Felonies and multiple count misdemeanors should all be mandatorily detained.
Thank you, Mr. Mendrick. Mr. Dabrowski.
Is it going?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm okay if I go.
I apologize. Mr. Heidner, I'm sorry.
Once again, the Safety Act has to go, period. There's no question about that. And it's the same thing with the detainees. Once again, to me, it's the same thing, okay? And we have to fix this. We have to fix it immediately. One thing I know 100% for sure, and I absolutely guarantee you, okay? If this was done the right way in this state the first day, within 6 to 8 weeks, we would have had ICE out of here. There was no cooperation at all because what happened is this became a soapbox. Illinois has become a soapbox, okay, that our governor and other politicians want to stand on. So they can go on Jimmy Kimmel and they can go on these other places, or they want to beat the hell out of our President Trump, okay? We could have had this here and gone, and all these criminals could have been out of here, all right? President Trump just came out a few days ago saying he wants a path for people that have been here a long time to become citizens. But we got to get rid of these horrible criminals that are terrorizing our people in our state.
Thank you, Mr. Heidner. The next question will be our closing question, and as such, the candidates... I'm sorry. I have totally lost track. Hello, get this guy out of here. All right. Now, Mr. Dabrowski, why don't you take that one? Thanks.
Ditto to what the two gentlemen here just said. I agree with everything. I want to take this a little further because I think this has not been covered, is being ignored by the media, by everybody. And this is that the prosecutors and the judges are getting away with letting bad guys go all the time with no accountability. So I want to create something where we track the record of all those prosecutors, track all those judges, right? Because if you take the CTA crime and the poor lady that was burned, how many times was that bad guy let go? And why aren't we tracking it? And I saw some news on that, but it hits me that we can't let people get away with it like that. Thank you.
Thank you. In his 2024 ruling in Barnett versus Raoul, Judge Stephen McGlynn wrote that Illinois violated the Supreme Court's Bruin decision by banning firearms that are in common use by law-abiding citizens, effectively treating the Second Amendment as a second-class right. Do you believe that there should be limits on the types of firearms law-abiding citizens may own? And if the government claims such limits could save lives, does it have the authority to infringe on a constitutional right, or is that line never legitimate under the Constitution? And Mr. Mendrick will start this question.
Okay, it has Heidner and Dabrowski then me, but I'll go first.
Yeah. Is it Heidner? Yeah.
I'm glad to take this one. So yes, I'm going to go back to saying that a squirt of plastic on a hot plate does not give you your constitutional rights. The Constitution, written in cursive that they don't let our kids read anymore, that's where it gives you your gun rights. I believe in constitutional carry. That is my belief and what I think. And what I'm doing now is I'm working with gun manufacturers, gun shops. I'm having an event on the 29th in Aurora, simply for this matter, to build a coalition of experts. And believe me, these people have dealt with government oppression in Illinois for years, taking away their businesses, their livelihoods. And guess what, folks? When I talk and interview all of our inmates in our jail, second biggest jail, half my people come from Chicago, they all say they do the gun crimes because they know you're not armed. When they see that circle on the door that says no guns, that means they're in charge. That's what they say upon interview. Guns save lives, people. 13 years, highest murder in the rates in the entire nation with the highest gun laws. The definition of insanity is repeating the same behavior and expecting a different result. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mendrick. Mr. Heidner, same question.
Thank you very much. It's very hard to follow Sheriff Mendrick after a question like that. So, I agree with everything he says. That's our Second Amendment rights. For law-abiding citizens, we need to protect ourselves. We need to protect our families. We're at the worst possible place that we've ever been in the state of Illinois for being safe. We have to be able to protect ourselves. I don't want the criminals to have the guns that I don't have, okay? I want to have the same rights as a criminal does because they don't belong having anything, and I should be able to protect my wife and my children and my grandchildren and my businesses. I've had the craziest stuff happen to me. Not too long ago, I had a commander call me on the phone and tell me that I had 2 murders in one of my parking lots in the last 30 days. And I couldn't even believe he was telling me that. And then he wanted me to get people to guard my own building. And I was mind-boggled with it. But anyway, if you come to my home, you're going to have a problem.
Mr. Dabrowski.
I think it's pretty simple. I agree here again, but just leave our guns alone. Focus on the criminals. Focus on the bad guys. Take the handcuffs off the police. Put them on the criminals. I want to add one more thing that I think is really important to this whole Safety Act and gun discussion, and that's that we got to rebuild our police morale. Pritzker and Brandon Johnson, who hates the police and wants to defund them, has destroyed morale for our policemen. As governor, I will devote my energies to building up the morale of the police again so that they can do their job and protect our citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. And the next question, we will start with Mr. Heidner. Other Republican-led states have paired pro-life protections with positive, life-affirming policies, such as stronger maternal health programs, expanded support for pregnancy resource centers, adoption and foster care reform, and financial and workplace supports for families. Illinois, under Governor Pritzker, has moved in the opposite direction, expanding abortion access and protections rather than building a culture of life. As governor, what positive, life-affirming policies would you champion to celebrate and protect life, supporting mothers, strengthening families, improving adoption access, and making life the easier and more supported choice in Illinois? And how would you implement those policies even without legislative support? And Mr. Heidner, we'll start you with that question.
Thank you. So that'll be across the aisle effort, okay? I am 100% pro-life. You know, we've got 24 to 26 weeks now where you can have an abortion here in Illinois in up to 9 months, but obviously that's a medical problem. But, you know, teaching and having places for these women to go to talk and to see if we can get them to give these babies up for adoption. So many people want children so that can't have them, okay? You know, I believe in pro-life. I believe that a child, when it's conceived, is a human being. So anything I can do, of course this is a heavy lift. You guys need to understand that, and we all understand that. But I'm going to do everything I can so that we can have these beautiful human beings and beautiful babies born and help so that these types of things don't happen. It's horrific to me.
Thank you, Mr. Heidner. Mr. Dabrowski, same question.
Yes, it's pretty obvious, I think, that Governor Pritzker and the legislature have taken the concept of life and destroyed it and moved it to the other extreme. I think we're now so extreme that most Illinoisans, if they could vote for something different, they would. We've got, you know, late-term abortion. We've got publicly funded abortions. We have taken parental notice away from parents. We have doubled the number of abortions in this state in the last 7 years. We've become the abortion capital of the Midwest. It's really sad. So we must take on all those initiatives that you mentioned in the question. We have to approach them. And I do think that because it's become so extreme, we can work across the aisle and try to find some rollback in a lot of these problems. And I do want to add one more thing that's so key. Our economic growth has been one of the worst in the country. And if you want to support life and we want to support families, we have to bring back economic growth, wage growth, job growth, so that people can flourish and take care of their children. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dabrowski. Mr. Mendrick, one question, 1 minute, same question.
Like it or not, the United States is rooted in Christianity. And I'm a Christian and I believe in God and I'm not afraid to say it. I believe in pro-life. I believe that every life is valuable, and we've devalued life. I mean, when Charlie Kirk got shot, how many people do you see people praising that? Praising it. When you see ICE agents being run over by cars, they're not allowed to defend themselves, or else they're going to get ridiculed. Their life, too. Then we move into assisted suicide. And I'm telling you, folks, there's going to be a whole bunch of legal issues with that one. What's a coroner's report going to say? It's going to say suicide, and that's going to negate all all the policies that you were hoping to get from the death. They say it's for people who have MS and are comatose. And all. Well, guess what? The drug has to be self-administered, folks. It's not for them. They won't even be able to use it. It's adult abortion. We've devalued life. We need to bring back Christian values back to Illinois and America.
Thank you, Mr. Mendrick. The very first bill Governor Pritzker signed into law was the Illinois Gun Dealer Licensing Act. Since then, the number of active firearms dealers has collapsed from roughly 4,000 to fewer than 1,500. Combined with the so-called assault weapons ban, these laws have made it nearly impossible for gun shops to survive in Illinois and have reduced lawful access to firearms for law-abiding citizens. As governor, how would you support repealing or gutting these laws or using executive authority to stop the damage? And specifically, what would you do? And this question will start with Mr. Dabrowski.
You know, as I've traveled the state, I've learned just how passionate people are about their guns and about the sport and about their safety. And of course, we live in Illinois. We have led the country for 14 years in a row for most murders. most murders. It's fascinating that we always are at the top. So what we need to do is protect guns, protect the livelihoods of people who depend on those, who live off of it, protect all the people who like it for a sport, the people who want guns for safety. Again, another tough slog, but it's another one we need to fight. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mendrick.
Okay. Which question are we at again? I'm sorry. 20. Okay. So again, with guns, I'm working with a coalition of gun dealers, gun manufacturers. Basically, what I've done at the sheriff's office throughout the years and why I've had so much success in a Democrat county, which I've always got when I wanted as a Republican sheriff, is because I create coalitions. And the big beginning of coalitions is a group of people that you would be considered stakeholders. So the people that are stakeholders in the gun community, the ones losing their businesses, losing their jobs, I'm working with them. We're working to make a Citizens Advisory Council that reports directly to the governor that's comprised of gun owners, gun manufacturers that have been working on this legislation for 20 years of attacks by the Democrat Party, working on how to keep their livelihoods intact. What better people to enlist to help you fight the main people that they're taking their livelihoods from? I vow to work with all of our gun shops, our gun owners, and our manufacturers to work legislatively together to push your goal, your 2A agenda through the governor's office.
Thank you, Mr. Mendrick. Mr. Heidner.
Well, once again, we're a gun family, right? So I have to tell you, my oldest son, Zachary, who's 34 years old, actually has now gotten a couple patents to enhance guns for the military, and he's driving me crazy to spend over $1 million to help him open up a little factory. And then he drives me crazy to build a $50 million asset in Belvedere for shooting range and have the police come over there and train and everything else. So, we're all pro-gun, okay, for citizens that are law-abiding citizens. And again, the Second Amendment, you should be able to have your firearms and you should be able to protect yourself. Once again, we're living in the worst of times, and I want to also get rid of, all these, you can't bring a gun in here, you can't bring a gun in a park, you can't bring a gun in, forest preserve. I don't know where else you're less safe. In the theater, how many times is there a theater problem?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Heidner. Despite record education spending, Illinois students continue to underperform nationally. According to the data in the 2024 National Assessment of Educational Progress, only about 30 to 38% of Illinois students scored at or above proficient in math and reading, and students remain below pre-pandemic performance levels. Do you support school choice in Illinois? And if so, what form should it take? Vouchers, education savings accounts, or charter expansion? If not, what alternative policies would you implement as governor to improve outcomes and restore accountability to parents and taxpayers? How would you advance those changes in the legislature in Springfield? And this will start with Mr. Mendrick.
So I totally believe in school choice, 100%. We also need a grading system with our schools so we know who is teaching and who is successful and who's not. Here's the thing, folks. I have a correctional facility and I let them build a college, an entire college within my jail. We do GED and high school equivalency. We do all the counseling and education that any educational system does. So I can take somebody in a 2-year period of time. They come in illiterate, not able to read or write, and that's your Chicago system for you. And in a 2-year period of time, I can have them with high school equivalency, I could have them job train, and I could have them college level services available to them that they pass at a 97 percentile level, and then they're orating written reports within 2 years. Why can't our schools do that in 12? In 2 years, I can do that with somebody in a correctional facility. So folks, yes, I believe in school choice. I believe in a grading system that will fetter out who is not bringing change to our systems. And I'm telling you right now, get sexuality out of schools and all your grades will come up.
Thank you, Mr. Mendrick. Mr. Heidner, same question.
So I really want to hold schools accountable. And the way you hold them accountable is with school vouchers, all right? As far as I'm concerned, a lot of the state, not all of it, there's some wonderful teachers and some wonderful teacher groups out there, but some of them have become a political party, and they don't concentrate on teaching our children, they concentrate on what they can get and what they can do and how easily they can get it. To me, that's disgusting. You should have the choice to put your child wherever you want to put them, if the school is not giving your child the education that you believe it should have. So my idea is a school voucher. So if it's costing us $30,000 per child, let's just call it that, per year in this state, then I'd like to give you a $15,000 voucher if you decide to move your child into a private school or somewhere else. And people say, Rick, well, what are you going to do if the schools start going empty, or the schools, you know what, we'll rent them to the private sector. We'll sell them to the private sector. Your children need to be taken care of and taught, and you should be the one that is responsible for that.
Thank you, Mr. Heidner. Mr. Dabrowski, same question.
If you guys know my work from Wire Points, you'll see that probably my most passionate issue is how poorly our schools are doing. I will be the literacy champion. I'll be the literacy governor in Illinois, and we will have the best school choice program in the country. We will not let kids go to the 4th grade if they can't read in the 3rd grade. We will grade every school A through F, so everybody knows where the schools stand. We will do phonics, and we will get rid of DEI in our schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dabrowski. And the next question. Illinois state budget has grown from roughly $38 billion to more than $55 billion under Governor Pritzker. Politicians routinely promise tax relief, yet spending keeps rising and families keep paying more. What convinces voters that you would actually shrink government, and what specific spending would you cut or eliminate as governor to reduce the budget, fight inflation, and deliver real tax relief? And we will start with Mr. Heidner with this question.
So once again, the first thing I would do is freeze no tax increases, period. We would go through every single line item and every single part of the budget and every single division where all this money is being spent. It's unconscionable, that we're 37 billion, 38 billion to 55 billion and no end in sight. Like I said, it was all about how much more money can we take and how much more money can we take from each of our tax-paying citizens, instead of one time trying to figure out how we can make some money. Driving out the highest paid, the biggest companies in Illinois so that they leave. I always make the analogy of Ken Griffin, 1,100 of the highest paying jobs, and driving him out of our state. And what happens, J.B. Pritzker, just to give him a little pat on the back on the way out, his wife buys one of Ken Griffin's homes for half price. It's so ridiculous. It's so sickening. No, we're gonna decrease taxes, and we're going to be efficient.
Thank you, Mr. Heidner. Mr. Dabrowski.
Yes, day one I would create what would be the effective group like Illinois Doge, and we will expose where all the money's going. It is really hard for us on the outside to know where the money's going. I've been doing this a long time, and I've had access to some data. But once in government, I will control all departments, I will control all agencies, and we will be able to see where the money is going. And trust me, we know there's waste, there's massive bloat, and the big difference that we'll do is we won't do what typical governments do when it gets kind of tough. Let's all do a 5% cut in the budget, that kind of stuff. No, we will look at what programs should exist or should not exist. Things that don't exist should be wiped out. And I'll tell you what should be wiped out are pensions for politicians. Get rid of them. Second thing, cut salaries for politicians in half. We don't need career politicians. And that's how we have to think about things. And the things that we do need more, like teacher training, let's give our teachers more training. So we have to prioritize between the two, but that's what we'll do in the Dabrowski administration. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dabrowski. Mr. Mendrick.
So I'm telling you, the first thing we have to do is the sanctuary state is costing us so much money. Then you have NGOs, that's billions. You know, Guitars Over Guns, $2 million. Little League teams getting $600,000. You know, Lincoln College, I went there, got my 2-year degree, but they just got $500,000 and they don't exist anymore. They were, you know, folded down in 2022. So we see this happening. Then we see budgets set on July 1. That's $55 billion there, big jump. But then that's not even good enough. Now we're going to add $3.5 billion in education for illegal aliens, abortion pills in your schools, mandatory mental health screening in your schools for another $3.5 billion 6 weeks after the budget was set. I vow not to pass anything that isn't approved by the community, by boards, by all the reviewing authorities. I've run an $80 million budget for 12 years, and I've never gone $1 over my appropriation. I stick to my budget as sheriff, and I will stick to my budget as governor. Thank you.
We've seen protests against law enforcement devolve into riots when leaders hesitate or side with chaos. As governor, where would you draw the line between peaceful protest and criminal behavior, and how would you act decisively to protect public safety and support law enforcement when that line is crossed? And we'll start with Mr. Dabrowski with this question.
Yeah, we're seeing a massive problem right now. Look, I totally support protest, right? That's our freedom to protest. We have to protect that. But what we can't do is have what Governor Pritzker and others are pushing for, which is chaos. And Pritzker, as I mentioned earlier, he's fomenting violence. It's the same thing you're seeing in Minnesota. And when people start putting themselves in front of lawmakers, law enforcement, there's going to be trouble. So we can't do that anymore. So what we have to do is, set the rules. What is a protest? And make sure that we're not putting people at risk. I go crazy listening to Governor Pritzker's words, and I called him out for it over the last couple months. Just the name calling has been nasty, wrong, and he's fomenting violence. We have to stop that. And I think that will solve a lot of the problems. And of course, if we hand over, just talking about the illegal immigrant criminals, if we just hand them over directly to federal officials, we will not have to chase them in the street. We will not have these violent protests. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dabrowski. Mr. Mendrick, please.
I will support our police. I will support my brothers and sisters in blue. That is what I've done for 30 years. You know, it's funny. You ever seen the street takeovers in Chicago where they take a random intersection over and no ambulances can get through, no fire department, no police, no one can answer their calls for service, no one can get to their emergencies, no one can get through their day because they've got an intersection closed and they're creating chaos. Well, you know what? I'm 30 minutes away from that mess in DuPage County, right? Half my residents in the jail are, residents of Cook County. So they tried that stuff with us too. You know what happened when they did street takeovers in DuPage County? 2 squad cars, 2 squad cars, 2 squad cars, 2 squad cars, arrest everything in between and impound every single car. Done. Then when mom and dad realize their cars are racking up thousands of dollars in impound lot, maybe it's not a good idea. Maybe I should watch my kids a little bit more and not let them do this nonsense that's disrupting society. We do not tolerate this in DuPage County. We won't tolerate it in the state of Illinois with me as your governor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mendrick. Mr. Heidner, same question.
Thank you very much. Again, back to if we would have done it the right way in the first place, if we would have just cooperated with the federal government and we would have turned over the criminals, if we would have done all the things that we were supposed to do, none of this would have happened, okay? When I look at Minnesota, I've already figured it out, right? I mean, they're doing all of this so that they can conceal all the criminal activity that they have done. So they're energizing and they're doing what they have to do. I don't want that to come to Illinois. All right, I don't want that to come to Illinois. So yes, 100%. We have to protect our police. We have to let them do their jobs. And the other part is whoever is paying these people, and we have a great idea who's doing it. Okay. Those people have to be accountable. Those are are people that should be put in jail. Those people should be put in jail. Paying people to protest, to create chaos in the streets and get this divisiveness, is insanity.
Thank you, Mr. Heidner. Small businesses in Illinois are often buried by regulation while large employers look elsewhere to expand. What would you change as governor to remove government barriers that hurt small businesses, and what concrete actions would you take to make McHenry County and Illinois competitive for major employers again? And this starts with Mr. Mendrick.
So the first thing we have to look at is our worker compensation rates are 3 times that of all of our collar county states. We have to have parity with them on workers' compensation. Contingency litigation. Have you ever driven on the highways and see all these Better Call Saul billboards just begging you to come use their lawyers to sue somebody? In other states, when you lose a lawsuit, you have to pay for the opposing team's legal costs. We don't have that. So you can sue for fun in Illinois and never pay a penny. And these horrible, I call them ambulance chaser lawyers, are making money all the way to the bank. They take on 100 cases, they win 30, they make big profit. You get to sue people, but guess what? The businesses have to pay. They have to pay every single time. Not only that, they've taken your money for road repair and infrastructure fixes through taking away 40% of your income tax money, called the Local Government Distributive Fund, and then they sweep all your money from the motor vehicle tax that would do that same thing and fix your roads and your infrastructure, make businesses attracted, create jobs, all that kind of stuff that would help McHenry County if we were just allowed to have access to our own money, but J.B. Pritzker has stolen it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mendrick. Mr. Heidner.
Well, this one's good for me, okay? So small businesses, this is where I came from, right? So when I said I was pretty much all of you throughout my life in my 65 years, I've been an employee, I've been a franchisee, I've been a person who had to pay rent, I've been a person that had to employ people and then pay those payrolls. I was a person that built buildings and bought buildings and had mortgages. So I've always had a lot of compassion for every single stage of those people that where I came from. I can understand every single part of that. And again, this is my forte. This is my thing. We need to help small businesses. We need to create more jobs. We need to build, okay? And if we have to give a small tax incentive, I've built huge projects that have employed hundreds of people, and then other businesses have employed people in my small projects is with a little bit of help creating tremendous tax dollars after those things are done. So I want to help businesses small and large throughout Illinois. I want to bring everything back to Illinois and make it a state of make.
Thank you, Mr. Heidner. Mr. Dabrowski.
So there's a lot that can be done for small businesses, and I remember a few years back I was looking at how long it takes Chicago to grant an LLC to a new company, and it was 30 days. And then we looked to see who was the most competitive in the country, and it was Phoenix. They said, we're going to do it in 24 hours. And that's the difference in thinking. We need to bring a culture of winning, a culture of thinking, and that's what I'd love to do. And I'll tell you, it starts at the top, and I know we're talking about small business regulations, but most companies don't want to expand here. Why? Because we don't create jobs in the first place. Our government is too big, it's too fat, too many mandates, too bureaucratic, and that's where it starts. So that's where I would start. I would look and find all the ways of just reducing costs so that companies can grow. Look, under Governor Pritzker in the last 7 years, this is an amazing stat. In the 7 years that Pritzker's been in office, Texas has created 1.5 million new jobs. Florida, 1.1 million new jobs. Illinois, almost zero, 25,000. That is a failure, and small companies can't succeed when there's not growth. So we have to bring growth back to this economy.
Thank you, Mr. Dabrowski. Name the 3 non-negotiable principles that you believe in so strongly that you'd be willing to take political damage to defend them as governor. How would those principles guide your decisions in office? And this starts with Mr. Heidner.
Well, the first thing for me is safety, okay? I want to make sure everyone's safe. And, I think, again, when we talk up here, everybody says the same thing, okay? We have to change all these things so that our citizens are not getting harmed. And they're getting harmed every single day, and they're repeat and repeat and repeat. So for me, that's the biggest thing, period. The second thing, you know, I want to grow Illinois. I want to stop having businesses leave Illinois. And like I said, if we have to give something to get such a big return back, it's just simple math. It's just absolutely simple math. And another one is you know, education, right? Education is so important. And I really want to make sure that our children are educated properly. Like I said, when I look at what I see out there, and it's so blatant, okay, that you know, I think a lot of the education in certain areas, you know, have just become a political party and not an education party. So I want to make sure that our children get educated. I want to make sure that our families are safe, and I want to make sure that Illinois is prosperous.
Thank you, Mr. Heidner. Mr. Dabrowski.
Yes, my father escaped from communist Poland in 1952, and eventually he made it here to Chicago, to Illinois. My mother left Ecuador when she was a 19-year-old, and she too came here, and it was here that they built their American dream. And I can't help but think that one of the starting points is free speech. Now, for my father to be free and to be independent and to be away from what he lived under communism and socialism, you have to protect free speech. And we saw Governor Pritzker destroy that during COVID. The second thing is freedom of religion. That's got to be key. If we don't have our religion, our freedom to have faith, we're in deep trouble. Governor Pritzker's attacked that too, closing our churches during COVID. And a third one, which is a little different, I love local control. I hate power in DC, and I hate power in Springfield. So we should do everything we can to make sure that decisions are made as close as possible to the people. Bring back the power to the local authorities. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dabrowski. Mr. Mendrick.
First one, sanctuary state. I'm going to say it again. We lost 800,000 people in our last census, and we've gained 700,000 illegal aliens to replace all of us. That's called socialism, folks. We're being washed out, and we have a new clientele being brought in, and it's costing us several $billions a year, 1.6 billion just in their health care. So that's number one. Number two is the Safety Act. We have people getting arrested 72 times and still able to burn up a lady on a train. Come on, 72 times. I mean, where has our criminal justice system gone? This has to change. And the third, hate to say it, folks, for 2 years after I retire, I'm still a certified police officer, and I will be in control of the state police, and everybody stealing is going to jail. Full forensic audit of every headcount position. DEI opened up so much abuse to headcount. And like I said, pay scales, no bid contracts. I mean, we're even dealing with it in DuPage County, where we've got a county clerk who refuses to obey bids, and they're having court cases that are costing hundreds of thousands of dollars to deal with it. The state is doing the same thing ad nauseum. They're all going to go to jail if I get elected governor.
Thank you, Mr. Mendrick. The U.S. Supreme Court has allowed a legal challenge to proceed against Illinois' practice of counting mail-in ballots received after Election Day. While the lawsuit is directed at state election authorities, it involves election laws enacted and defended by the Pritzker administration. As governor, would you support voter ID and other election integrity reforms, and what specific steps would you take to ensure Illinois elections are secure, transparent, and trusted by voters? And we'll start with Mr. Dabrowski.
One of the worst things we can do is have elections where nobody trusts the results, or there's always doubts. And it's really sad that we live in America now where after an election, nobody's quite sure whether they believe it. And we can't have that. And so, I dream of the day where we go back to paper ballots and election day voting. That's where we should be. But we're not there right now. We're in a crazy world where we're extending periods of when votes are counted and all that. So yes, I'm very happy for the ruling. That means that they're standing. There can be many, many more suits now from all kinds of groups over their concerns over election integrity. So that's a big deal. I would support voter ID, come on, we require ID for everything. Why aren't we requiring it for the most important thing there is, voting? So I would support all these efforts to just expose, and make as transparent as possible our voting. It's so key to our future. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mendrick.
So first off, we got to get the voter rolls clean. So the easiest way to do that is take the offices that are actually responsible for collection of that data. So the coroner's office should be doing a quarterly report to the Election Commission, right? There's all the people who passed away. Get them off the voter rolls. And the county clerk, go figure, should be dumping quarterly anybody who's moved, right? And then we clean up all those rolls and actually have a better chance to honestly vote. Plus, do you know, like doctors now, you can take your phone and do facial recognition and slap your driver's license on top of it, and they'll meld them almost to like a real ID type of document that is unfoolable. I called my election commission and said, if I get elected governor, how fast would you guys be able to implement this system with the facial recognition and vote by driver's license merge? And they're like, oh, just let me know when you win, we'll hit the button. Hit the button? Yeah, that's in all the software. It's a nationwide software. We're one of the only states stupid enough to be doing it without requiring ID. But, you know, it's just like NGOs. They don't want audits. They don't want any kind of ability to FOIA. They don't want to ask for your ID in voting. So it's a fixed system, and that all has to change, and I would support all those changes.
Thank you, Mr. Mendrick. Mr. Heidner, your question.
Yes, thank you again. We need in-person voting. I mean, that's what we need. We need in-person voting. We need to have an ID so that when you go to vote, we know who you are, all right? And the vote is correct. Mail-in voting, other than for the military and you know, people that are very sick or something like that, you know, that okay, I understand, and somehow we have to make that so it's clean. But unfortunately, I've been around a really long time, and you know, it could be a joke with this mail-in voting and then not being the person when you are going to vote and showing an ID. You know, one thing I want to tell you, you know, you mail in a vote, right? And if the wrong person gets it, and all they have to do is put it up to a light, okay? And they know where your vote is. I don't know why anybody else hasn't figured this out, but if somebody wants to not have your vote count, they could just dispose of that. So it's horrible, it's insanity, it takes away everything in the world that everybody fought for, you know, our veterans fought for us to be able to have our voice.
Thank you, Mr. Heidner. Many Republicans would prefer in-person voting on paper ballots, but that is not the reality for November. Mail-in voting and early voting are part of the system we will be competing in. As a candidate for governor, how will you effectively use the existing election system to win? Specifically, how will you ensure Republican mail-in ballots are requested, returned, and counted? And how will you drive increased Republican turnout up and down the ballot statewide? And we will start with Mr. Mendrick on this question.
Yeah, so we went through this already with the sheriff's race, the last two races I had. That's why we were in the second biggest county in the state, DuPage County. I was 60,000 more Democrat votes than the highest vote-getting Democrat. And the way we did that was we understood the words, we call it anecdotally, shrink your universe, right? So we know early on, if you know, it's kind of like donations. I hate to compare it to this, but if you don't have a way to take a check, a credit card, or cash, and you don't have your account set up, you have to refuse money. You don't want to have to refuse votes. It's the same type of thing, right? So you want to be able to say, hey, if you totally are into the mail-in ballots, you can't turn off all those voters. You know, you can't just tell them, no, we're going to close this portion down. But we encourage you to vote in person. I always encourage people to vote on Voters' Day too. I'll be honest, on Election Day, my family votes every day. And there is a calculated risk with that, because if there's an emergency that comes up, you may not be able to vote. So here's where it helps your candidates. So it's called shrink your universe. If you do vote early and in person, which is what I would prefer, that makes less people we have to chase, right? And then the Republicans have to spend less money during the race to chase the rest of the people that, you know, haven't cast their ballot yet.
Thank you, Mr. Mendrick.
So, thank you.
Mr. Heidner, same question.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one, guys, okay? And what I would ask and suggest is that our citizens, our Republican Party, our people go and watch, volunteer to watch. Make sure that this is happening correctly. This is the most important race that I believe we'll ever have in Illinois, and I'm going to tell you why, okay? And please get out there. Please vote. We got to get every Republican out there to vote, and we have to get every Republican out there to make sure that our vote counts and it's right. Because I'm telling you right now, and I believe this from the deepest part of my heart, we are 2 election cycles away from being New York City, okay? And we can't have it happen. And if they don't allow our vote to count, okay, we can't win. They'll always manipulate it, and we'll always lose.
Thank you, Mr. Heidner. Mr. Dabrowski.
Yeah, I just want to expand on that, just to go further from the question. I think this is the moment, to Rick's point, this is a moment that we've become so extreme in Illinois, and of course not us, them. They become so extreme in the laws they've passed. And if you look at across the issues, whether it's economic, whether it's life, whether it's our schools, whether it's health, it is so extreme that I think we have this unique moment to reach out to independents, to reach out to Democrats who don't want to vote for Pritzker for a 3rd time because they don't like what they see. Whether it's a mom who feels like she's had her parental control stolen from her, whether it's the blacks in Chicago who are so upset with the immigration and all that spending, the $2 billion just on healthcare alone that has gone to the illegal immigrants and not to the community, or it's raised taxes. And you've also got, I think even the Latinos, right? Many of those who have been here forever, who came here legally, they've had jobs, and all the illegal immigrants came in, took jobs, and lowered wages. I think we have a unique opportunity to gather that vote, and we have to work together on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dabrowski. What should we have asked you folks? And we'll start with Mr. Heidner.
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question. What is it?
32.
32?
Yeah,
We skipped to 32.
I never got all these questions, just so you know.
No, you didn't get all of them. You got the first handful, and the rest
what
were...
should have we asked me? Okay. All right.
And sorry, Rick, is this the last question, or is there a closer?
There's a closer after this one. Yes, Eric? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So the question is, what should we have asked? In other words, we've asked you a lot of questions. What did we miss? Did we miss a particular point that we should have brought forward?
Well, with my opening statement, I really didn't get everything out that I wanted to, but I squeezed a little bit of those things in. A question that you should have asked me that you didn't ask me. How am I going to fix all of this? I'm going to get in, I'm going to work hard. I want to tell you, I have to tell you something. I'm in a regulated business, and actually J.B. Pritzker is my regulator. So I like to tell everybody this is not the smartest thing I've ever done, and it's obviously the most dangerous thing I've ever done, and it's the bravest thing I've ever done. But I want to come in there, I want to fix everything, and I want to do everything I can to build businesses in Illinois so the tax burden goes away from all of you, okay? So, and then I'm just telling you something, because I really wanted to retire before I did this. I want to do it in 4 years. I want to get the hell out of here then, okay? And I want to retire. And the last thing is the one thing you didn't ask is, we need term limits. If there was a 2-term for a governor, I wouldn't have to be sitting here, okay?
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Heidner. Mr. Dabrowski, same question.
Yeah, I think something where people ask me, do you really think we can change Illinois? And so many people just say, just leave, right? And I hate that, because I want to stay here and fight, and I know a lot of you here do as well. I get my inspiration. I got to work in Poland from 1998 to 2007, and the wall had been down about 9 years. But I got to a country, and I did my small part, but I got to a country where they had been destroyed, right? They had their individual rights destroyed, economic freedom was destroyed, Warsaw was in rubbles. And here I was helping this country where everybody united. Just a decade earlier, it was impossible to have thought that would happen. Everybody came together united, and they brought back individual rights. They brought back capital markets. They brought back free markets. They brought back freedom. Luckily, they didn't have to bring back religion because the people still had the religion underground. But today, Poland is one of the most amazing growth countries and freedom countries in the world. And if Poland can do that, so can we.
Thank you, Mr. Dabrowski. Mr. Mendrick.
I would say she'd ask me my government credentials. Again, I've run an $80 million budget, 504 employees, 300 contractors. I supervise over 800 people. I've never gone $1 above my appropriated budget in 12 years at an $80 million budget in the second biggest state, or second biggest county. Not only that, you should ask me what my interaction with J.B. Pritzker are. I was a guy who was next door to him who refused to do masking. I refused to shut down my restaurants. I refused to put my police on mandatory vaccination lists. I refused to go to your doors asking for your guns with the 2A. I refused to comply with the Safety Act in the sanctuary state. I have been there suing J.B. Pritzker, fighting against all his policies for the 7 years that we've been enduring because we got elected at the same time. I will continue to resist. I will continue to take our conservative principles forward and to be honest to all the Republican voters, the citizens. J.B. Pritzker calls the aliens his people. You, the citizens of Illinois, are my people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mendrick. And this will be the closing question, and it'll be a 2-minute question per candidate, and we'll be going in reverse ballot order. So we'll be starting with Mr. Heidner. In the 22 election, Republican candidates received just under 1.75 million votes statewide, while Governor Pritzker received more than 2.25 million, with third-party candidates also on the ballot. Trump got 2.5 million votes in Illinois in 2024. Republicans likely face a deficit of more than 500,000 votes this November. Why are you the right candidate who can win statewide? What specific plan do you have to expand the Republican vote total, and how can everyday citizens get involved to help make that happen? And again, we'll start with you, Mr. Heidner.
Thank you. I was hoping to go last on this one, but I guess that didn't happen. We have to get everybody to come out to vote, okay? If we can get every single voter that voted for President Trump out, we win, okay? What I have is I have a huge relationship with the business community. And in the Republican Party, from the polls that I've seen and the polls we've looked at, is the Republicans are looking for a businessman to run the state of Illinois. The state of Illinois is a business. It's a huge business, okay? Just like President Trump that took over our wonderful country, he's running it as a business. And that's what we have to do here. We have to drive business here. Everyone here needs to prosper. We have to stop having everyone leave our state. I can't tell you how many of my friends that have any kind of wealth, they're just tired of it. They leave. They still come back here. They still have houses. They live here 3 months. They don't want to leave. I certainly don't want to leave. My whole family's here. Almost all of my business is here. So, I want to drive that fact. And I have to say something. This is important because I'm afraid Ted's going to bring it up because he seems to always want to bring it up. I have done a tremendous amount of business, and I have donated well over $1.5 million to the parties, both parties. But just like President Trump, I have donated to Democrats. I've donated to Republicans, okay? I'm a Republican, but I'm also a businessman. And I've had to resonate. And, Kim Fox is the one that I apologize for because I didn't know she was. I obviously didn't give her any money after she was in office. But I do want you to know, okay, and Joe Torino here could tell you, for the McHenry County Go Pack, I've probably generated more money for them than any other person has ever for them. I've had two Republican for your events at my own home. I've had Donald Trump Jr. at my home. I've had Sarah Huckabee Sanders at my home. I've had Eric Jr. at my home. And every time I did that, and those are the two that I was the host for. I was everything, and the other one I was a sponsor for Donald Trump Jr. when he did his book. And all that money came to you. And I would ask Joe if he would tell you that I probably have contributed through that more money to your PAC than anyone else.
Thank you, Mr. Heidner. Mr. Dabrowski, you're next.
I think it's Mr. Mendrick.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Mendrick. Reverse order, indeed.
So what makes me different and will be able to get votes a lot differently than others is I'm the police. I'm who you call when you need help. I am small government. I am here for you. I help you even if you hate me. I have been nonpartisan, living in a blue county that still gets all the blue votes, and it's the second biggest county in the state. I was the Juneteenth Person of the Year in Chicago at the Black Chamber and the Black Caucus last year. I was at the Bud Billiken Parade. I am involved in all of the inner city happenings because I can traverse these things because I'm a policeman, a cop who masters in rehabilitation in a correctional facility, and half the people I've gotten over the last 7 years are Chicago residents. I will be able to get votes that nobody else can. I open doors to people. I have been developing relationships for 30 years in the sheriff's office. I have relationships with the Pakistani environment, the Hindu environment, the Christian environment, the Jewish environment, the Sikhs environment. For 15 years, I was religious institution security. I built coalitions with all of these people. This isn't something that I started a year ago. I've been sheriff in the second biggest county for almost 8 years. I have developed relationships across this entire state that my opponents will never be able to come up with in this short of a time. It takes time to get to know people. It gets time to be involved in your society. Charity work. We've done charity work. We've fed 50,000 people a year for the last 7 years on Meals and Wheels senior services. I generate 10,000 pounds of food for our local people through our jail horticulture programs. I have relationships that cannot be obtained and created over a 2-month period of time. What I've done and what I've built and the law enforcement culture and the public safety culture and the government culture of DuPage County took 30 years to cultivate. And I will honor my vows, my pledge to you that I will take all of these values and I will be the best governor you've had in Illinois. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mendrick. Mr. Dabrowski finishes this round.
All right. So I've been building coalitions for a long time, as I mentioned before. And for me to run for governor, I started with number one, can we raise the money? Because if you don't have a good donor base, you can't do it. And so I've been fortunate. I was very happy, very fortunate that I first started with the business community in Chicago. I wanted to find out if the business community in Chicago is angry enough. These are centrist reformers. Are they angry enough to donate to a Republican with conservative values? And it was a big yes. I also got downstate donors. One of Mr. Bailey's biggest donors from before is now with our camp, Mr. Melvin, so he's with us. Also conservative donor, the most conservative, biggest donor in Illinois, Dick Uline, is on our team. So that was the foundation. There's enough money there. And if you're going to be Pritzker, you better be able to raise money broadly. We've done that. The second thing is, I mentioned influencers who support. Today I found out that the Illinois Family Action, pro-life, pro-family, has endorsed me today. So that's a big deal. That's great. Thank you. In Peoria, for example, I went down there. I got at least two-thirds of the precinct committeemen to endorse our campaign. So we got the Peoria County Republicans. I was in Wheeling Township, right next door to Palatine, where Aaron Del Mar lives, and I got 97% of the precinct captains to endorse. So we're getting the endorsements in all different areas. That's important. And then I had a big event in Peoria that I had nearly 20 local and state officials endorse. So we're building the coalition, and that's what it takes to beat Pritzker, and that's key. Rick, I wasn't going to mention your thing today, but you brought it up. Look, I don't criticize, these gentlemen build coalitions, and Rick has built his, but Rick has given money to Brandon Johnson, to Kim Fox, to Don Harmon, Rahm Emanuel, and that's okay because he's in that business, but I think the primary voters have to decide if that's good or not. Is that a continuation of what we've seen in Illinois, or is Rick different? And that's okay, but I have built those coalitions, and I look forward to getting your support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Dabrowski. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes tonight's forum. Please take some time to meet the candidates and others at their tables around the venue. And on behalf of Eric Syvertson, Adam Shaver, GOP, VIP, MC GoPack, the Vixen and their staff, and all the wonderful volunteers, I'm Joe Terrio, your McHenry County Clerk. Have a good night.